Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the High Elves, who shall be led by Tyrion, and the Dinosaurs, who are going to be helmed by Kroq-Gar. He's actually a bit of a rare sighting these days. Oftentimes, you're going to be seeing Slann and the Source Old Bloods to get the Horn of Kygor, but nonetheless, still very powerful. Hand of the Gods can do some serious blasting, and of course, he's a very, very good duelist. So today, we're going to see Kroq-Gar versus Tyrion. Quite a bit of fun. So as far as the build goes, here in the front line, it's going to be three groups of the White Lions. And White Lions are a pretty good choice against Dinos. They can deal with Source relatively effectively because they have good combat stats. They also have 90 armor, and Source don't have the best armor-piercing values. So having a front line of the White Lions, I think, is pretty solid against these guys. On top of that, if they do have to fight big dinos, for example, so let's say they're fighting a Bastillodon or Kroq-Gar on his T-Rex or, anything like that, they do actually have okay AP values and generally good combat stats. They're not one of those infantry units that are really reliant on, let's say, a bonus versus infantry or something like that. So pretty good, well-rounded unit for sure. They actually do well against Cav on top of that. I mean, not if they're just getting cycle charged and things like that, but yeah, I think they're pretty good. We got two groups of Spearmen, I think, or is it just going to be one? Yeah, one's going to be up in the forest here, kind of hiding behind these two Reaper or Eagle Claw bolt throwers, and that's just a bit of an ambush here, waiting for some dinos to kind of lurk, and then the Fireborn and the Spearmen can emerge and hopefully defend these bad boys. Two bolt throwers as well, and most of my army is pretty well equipped to deal with Saurus and ground infantry and things like that, but one of my big issues is going to be dealing with big dinos. As such, I have two bolt throwers, and Tyrion is really good against big targets as well. His stats are just so damn good. He's got 77 melee attack, 72 melee defense. A massive charge bonus, good weapon strength. Plus, he can get even more buff from feint and riposte. So I think I have plenty of tools to deal with big dinos. And a lot of dino players are going to go more wide against Lizard or against the High Elves because Sisters of Averlorn and kind of the threats of focus fire. You see players, just bring maybe like one or two single entities and then going wider aside from that. So anyways, two bolt throwers, White Lions in the front line, one group of Swordmasters in the back just to give me extra punch against like Temple Guard and elite troops. We have a Mage of Life, of course, pretty much standard stuff there. We have some expensive infantry, and of course the Fireborn. So without healing, we could be in a lot of trouble. So that's pretty much it for my force here. We do also have some Reavers on the far side, and I think that's going to be it for my force. And for the forces of King of the Dead, up in the skies, he does have a Skink Priest with Heaven, so he's got Wind Blast. He has the Curse of the Midnight Wind as well. Wind Blast is one of the best spells against High Elves, because typically they're very tightly packed, right? Their troop formations are very tight, so getting those juicy Wind Blasts down like Archers or Sisters of Averlorn is just a massive value tree, and so I like that quite a bit. On top of that, we got Red-Crested Skinks and Cohorts in the front line, and Ancient Salamander, which is pretty good. Solid range, going to be able to kind of poke and do some good AP damage against my troops. I like that pick quite a bit. And he does also have Kroq-Gar. So Kroq-Gar is coming in with the Steel Claw, or the Hand of the Gods as it's actually called, and a bunch of Horned Ones. So Horned Ones here, Horned Ones here. The Fireborn in a vacuum can defeat Horned Ones, if I'm not mistaken, but two of them obviously going to be a little bit spooky, and he does have the Curse of the Midnight Wind, so he can certainly equalize that fight a little bit. So that's pretty much it for his force. Just Saurus and Skinks. The real meat of the army is going to be the Horny Boys plus the Ancient Salamander and Kroq-Gar. So let's get the show on the road, guys, and see how it goes. So firstly, my bolt throwers are going to be shooting downtown, trying to pick off the Horned Ones and actually getting some pretty good kills. Every model you can take out on these very elite units actually matters quite a bit. And my archers, in the meantime, I just brought one group of regular archers just as a bit of a deterrent. Obviously, they're just going to get wind blasted, but even if they do, it's not going to be like a huge deal. So yeah, one wind blast, pretty bad there. Had that been like Sisters of Averlorn, that's like the equivalent of losing maybe like 700 or 800 gold, but here it's only 200, so not too bad. And Hand of the Gods, like almost one-shotting my mage, and my mage just getting pounded right there. Nasty, nasty stuff. It will respond with regrowth, and it looks like we're going to be able to stabilize that mage, which is quite nice. White Lions in the front have engaged with Red-Crested Skinks. Now, I'm pretty sure the White Lions will win this in a grind, but the Skinks, of course, are getting their money's worth, doing a lot of damage against a more expensive unit, and it actually looks like the Skinks are kind of winning that fight, which is a little bit scary. Tyrion, in the meantime, is going to be charging Kroq-Gar. He gets some good damage. Curse of the Midnight Wind does go down, though, so I'm going to be pulling back. And you can see the Ancient Salamander getting some pretty good damage against Swordmasters, or at least a little bit of poking so far. The Fireborn are going to be charging in, getting a hammering charge against these Red-Crested Skinks, trying to free up this kind of position of the battlefield. And over here, Tyrion is going to get not afflicted, but buffed by Earthblood. Certainly not an affliction. And the Fireborn plus Tyrion are going to get healed, and Kroq-Gar is actually having a really bad time. So some of my Reavers did get chased off by his Horned Ones, and they're going to be coming back in, hopefully able to jump on the Salamander. And so far, the bolt throwers have been doing really good. I'm quite happy with their performance. And the Fireborn are going to be pulling back, and he countercharges with the Horned Ones, but his Horned Ones kind of get caught up amongst my White Lions, so this is the perfect opportunity for me to turn around with my Fireborn and countercharge these guys and kind of stay on their tail here. They're not really going to be able to get away. Plus, I do have the support of the White Lions and some Swordmasters on the low ground here, so pretty good situation. In the meantime, Reaver is still coming back. Archers are back online, and we're going to be shooting at some Skinks on the flank, and the White Lions in the front are fighting Saurus, but they have been taking some heavy poundings here from the Horned One charges, and really nice charge there by King. Isolating a bit of an exposed flank that's a little bit weak, so that is going to be a lot of damage. And those White Lions are going to be buckling here in a minute. I don't see them lasting much longer. So that kind of opens up my flank here. You can see the Eagle Claw bolt throwers are still shooting happily. I have some Spearmen in reserve who I can kind of pull in to deal with these Horned Ones, but for the most part, it's going to be a very scary situation. In the back, the Reavers are able to temporarily shut down the Salamander, which is great. Left to their own devices, they would actually be able to kill that thing probably. But here you can see Horned Ones and Kroq-Gar are going to be coming back in. White line still holding down the front line quite valiantly, and the Fireborn are in really good shape. So basically I'm just using them as a backline sweeper right now, trying to catch these Horn ones and get as much damage as I possibly can. So we're going to be charging downhill. We get that juicy charge against the Horn one. Certainly going to get some good charge bonus there. We're also going to be dropping heal here in just a second, I believe. But yeah, getting some good bursts there on the Horn ones. But Horn ones are one of those very elite units. They just never break. Up here on the high ground, King is able to get his King Priest with Heavens here onto my artillery piece, and some red-crested skinks are able to get back here. So it's probably only a matter of time before I lose this position. Not going to be the most fun, especially if he has like a wind blast or something like that he can actually shoot down the formation and really tear up my spearmen, which would be a pretty good play. In the front though, Swordmasters are making quick work of these Dino infantry. They're bonus first infantry, just straight up lawnmowers against skinks and low tier troops. They have 117 kills, 118. Quite happy with the fact that I included them. I feel like they're really good buzzsaw unit here against Saurs and skinks, and if he does go elite with like Temple Guard and Star Chamber Guardians, they're able to kind of go fisticuffs and trade efficiently with those guys as well. Although some Saurs are going to be coming in the back here, and you can see the Salamander still trolling me, getting a nice little burst of damage here on the Swordmasters of Hoeth. The Reavers are trying their best to shut down the Salamander, but Krokar keeps jumping back there on his big old T-Rex, and Krokar's just been getting pounded by those bolt throwers. Pretty much the entire game I've just been shooting at him. I don't know if that's the right choice. Maybe shooting the Horn ones would be better, but a Sunfang there is a bit of a miss. I tried to time it, but King was watching and pulled his forces back, so maybe should have waited till it was a little bit more blobbed up, but of course King is a very good player. He's going to be able to dodge that regardless. So this is a bit of a scary situation. Now, right now I'm a little bit ahead on the bounce of power, but here the Fireborn actually charged in with Tyrion, thinking Tyrion and the Fireborn would be okay here, but I actually kind of get swarmed. Horn ones coming in, Saurus, there's also just Saurus everywhere, another group of Horn ones from the high ground, so suddenly a situation in which I feel like I'm in a very dominant position is looking a little bit tenuous. So right here, the Shield of the Thorns, the Shield of Thorns is going to be going down, giving physical resist and damage to my Fireborn, and they're doing a good job for what it's worth, but they're fully surrounded, they're taking a beating from all angles, and Horn ones have nasty, nasty damage output, especially as it pertains to their armor piercing values. So the Fireborn are getting mulched down. We've got 25 models left up here on the high ground. The Spearmen and the Caster are trying their best to protect this Bolt Thrower, and the Bolt Thrower's done pretty good. I mean, Krokar is very, very low, 800 HP. I mean, he's probably not going to be coming back and making much of a difference here. He might be juking that, but that looks like a true shot right there, 717 HP. Certainly getting burned down pretty bad, but here you can see the skinks are breaking through. One bolt thrower is going to be taken offline, and the other cohort here is going to be jumping over here to jump on this bolt thrower. And also the Heavens Caster is chasing off archers, so very, very good play by King. I am pretty far ahead on the bounce of power, actually. You can see it's kind of teetering up and back and up and back. I have some troops kind of rallying here, some spearmen and some swordsmen, and they're going to be doing their best to kind of fight against these lizard cav right here. And I believe Tyrion is still fighting in the pits as well. I think he's a little bit surrounded here, and Tyrion is just an absolute beast. Now, also, I do have the Heart of Averlorn. Heart of Averlorn's a pretty good item. It can win you games for sure, but oftentimes I've noticed that the Heart of Averlorn just kind of, he'll be the last thing left, right? And then it just doesn't get the chance to really be functional. But nonetheless, it is an item that can really win you games. Now, as far as what the Lizards have left, 14 Horn ones and 18, and these things just have insane leadership. I mean, basically Fireborn tier. They're just going to be holding on to the bitter end. 18 here, and it looks like, yeah, still 13 there. We're going to be getting a fat heal. Earthblood is going to be going down. I have some Reavers coming back in. I'm trying to swoop up and around and get on the Salamander here. And in the back, I have a couple Spearmen. The Bolt Thrower crews are still online, and some very loose troops on the periphery. So over here, I have some Spearmen and some rallying troops, but for the most part, they're all very, very beat up. Some Swordmasters coming back in as well, 143 kills in these bad boys, and hopefully they'll be able to get in there. But Sally has something to say about that. She is just going in deep on these guys, doing a ton of work, and the Swordmasters of Hoeth might actually break before they get there. No, it looks like they're going to be able to maintain. And unfortunately, my Reavers actually just get terrified by the Ancient Salamanders and not really able to do their job. So we've devolved into a bit of a pit fight. The bounce power is even, for sure. A little bit in my favor, still ever so slightly, but the thing is, this is a very unfortunate, grindy situation. The Horn ones are here. He has red-crested skinks, which their AP values are going to be huge here. Tyrion rocking 126 melee defense with stand your ground plus feint and riposte. And here comes a fat Sunfang. Is this going to be the moment of truth? And it looks like the dinos are going to be able to, for the most part, get away from that. I mean, it still roasts a couple of them, but King with a very good dodge there. Very, cognizant of what was going on. He's able to dodge that. So Tyrion is going to be getting attacked by the Ancient Salamander now. And bounce power goes in my favor again, able to roast some of the dinos here. And Tyrion's going to be turning and fighting against the Ancient Salamander here. Horn ones just won't die, though. And it's such an issue because their mass is pretty good, and they're able to kind of hold me in place. Now, what I would normally do if the Horn ones weren't there is I would pull back, I would cycle charge, I would pick off high-value targets like Krokar, and with cycle charging, we would be able to eventually win. But based on this situation, I'm not really able to get away. I keep kind of trying to get away here, but I get pursued by the Horn ones and the Salamander, and I take damage as I run. And you can see there's a couple behind me here. Tyrion's a little bit pinned in, and King is going to be isolating my weak caster. So he's going after the mage with life here with the Salamander, which, again, pretty good melee combat. 35, 33, 376, or 365. And he is able to get my caster. So suddenly the game goes from being, pretty, handily in my favor to actually in the favor of King of the Dead here. Big turnaround here, and Tyrion is going to be keeping to this fight here. Curse of the Midnight Wind going to be making him a little bit squishier, but nonetheless, he still has 95 armor. And look how low all these dino forces are. I mean, everything is so beat up. The bolt thrower crew has come back to help out, and here my mage is going to be getting chased off. So right now I'm trying to break Tyrion out of this just pit of hell, and I'm trying to get on the salamander, just pick it off and take advantage of my mobility. But like I said, the horned ones are hot on my tail. Tyrion gets a nice little charge there, but the salamanders and the horned ones just kind of getting a full surround. And there's 4 of those guys and 5 of those guys. He's able to get a huge blow here on the ancient salamander. And is he going to smite its ruins upon the mountain? And you can see, look at that. Heart of Avalorn went off right there. Now, had I not been afflicted with army losses, that would have 100% been a win. Like, Heart of Avalorn would have taken him back up to half health. That probably would have triggered, like, almost, you know, a huge morale issue for the dinos in terms of army losses. But that's the thing. Heart of Avalorn always comes in, at least in my experience, or often does, in situations in which, you know, it's like you get hit with army losses before it actually kicks in. That would have healed him to, like, half health, which would have been really, really nasty. Although I don't know if he was close to his healing cap. If he was, then it wouldn't have mattered, but... yeah, that's the thing with it. But man, King did a really good job coming back and clawing his way back into the game. And it really came down to the resilience of the horned ones. But there was one big turning point in that game that I'm sure a lot of you guys saw. And it was when I charged in with my Fireborn and kind of got surrounded by skinks and red-crested skinks and Saurus and 2 groups of very beat-up horned ones. I assumed I could chalk through them with Tyrion and the Fireborn, but he kind of dragged my Fireborn down there, and that really kind of cost me my lead, which I felt like I had a pretty good position. But yeah, he did a really good job just maintaining, and despite the fact playing from behind, he was able to come back and just claw his way back and just get a solid victory there. Very, very good play with the horned ones, making sure to keep me surrounded. The salamander targeting, going after my caster and those other troops was just magnificent. So really well played to King of the Dead. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this High Elf versus Dinosaur game, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.